You're listening to the North Star Bible School podcast. North Star is a one-year Bible program dedicated to helping young men and women build their life's foundation on Jesus Christ. Well, welcome back to the North Star Bible School podcast. Today we have with us our teacher for this week, Brad Blackstone. Pastor, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Cool. So let's just jump right into it. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
You bet. Of course, my name is Brad Blackstone. I am the senior pastor at Eagle River Grace Church. My wife and I have been attending Eagle River Grace Church since 1997. So we've been associated with the church nearly 30 years, and I have not been pastor all those years. In fact, I've only been senior pastor for the last 5 years. I served as assistant pastor for 2 years prior to that. But when we started going to Eagle River Grace Church, we were just two people in a crowd. And it was through a series of events that God led me to the pulpit there at Eagle River Grace. And so that's where I'm at now. My prior career was as a civil engineer, and my civil engineering career was kind of what brought me to Alaska in the first place. I attended the University of Maine to get my civil engineering degree, and the Army ROTC program awarded me a scholarship. I was selected for active duty, so my first duty station was at Fort Wainwright near Fairbanks. And so I served 4 years there. And then after 4 years of active Army service, my wife and I moved to the Eagle River, Anchorage area. I worked for 8 years at the Department of Transportation, and then I worked for 17 years at an organization called the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium, where we did water and sewer work in the native villages. And so I've flown all over the state in that capacity. Primarily to the rural native villages, mostly aren't connected by road or anything. Like I've said, I'm married. I have 3 children of my own. They're all adults now. My oldest, she's a daughter. She has 3 children. And my middle son, he and his wife are expecting a little boy here, I think in August is when she's due. So I'm a grandparent almost 4 times over now. So
Wow.
Do you think there's anything else your listeners might want to know about me?
Well, where'd you grow up?
Oh, I grew up in Maine, state of Maine. I attended the University of Maine. That was the in-state school.
Right.
And the Army brought me here. So I've been in Alaska pretty much my whole adult life. And so I'm more of an Alaskan than I am a Maina.
Sweet.
So that's how we say it out in Maine, Maina.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what led you to pastoring?
That's a good story. Of course, we've been attending Eagle River Grace Church back in 2005. Our pastor at the time had stepped down. His departure was abrupt. And so it left a vacuum of leadership in the church. And so we were without a pastor, and I had asked the elders if I could have a chance to try preaching from the pulpit. And back then they were pretty eager for anyone to fill the pulpit. Most people are. And so they let me preach. And as it turned out, during the 2 years we were looking for a pastor, I preached quite often. And once our new pastor came aboard in 2007, I'd asked him, well, what do you think? Is this something I should pursue? Do you think I might have a calling here? And he thought perhaps I did, and encouraged me to apply for a seminary program. And that was back when online education was just coming into being a thing. And I was able to find a seminary program that allowed me to pursue a degree entirely online, which was very convenient because I already had a family, I had a career. It would have been very, very difficult to kind of uproot everything and do a resident program at a seminary somewhere. So our pastor guided me through the ordination process. So I was ordained in 2013. I had graduated from seminary in 2015, became assistant pastor in 2019. And then when our prior pastor retired, I moved into the role of senior pastor while simultaneously retiring from my career as an engineer. So that's how I made it to where I'm at. It was a process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Sweet. And so now you're here teaching.
And
How'd
now
that
I'm
happen?
here teaching. Well, my first seminary program was a pursuit in a degree of Christian apologetics. And the reason why I chose Christian apologetics is because I thought it was a very engaging topic. It really interested me. I was at a stage in life that I could kind of pick and choose a curriculum or a school that personally interested me, and so that's what I did. And so my first seminary degree was in Christian apologetics. I went on to get another degree in I have a Master's of Divinity from Grace College and Seminary in Indiana. But my first degree was from Southern Evangelical Seminary, and their specialty is Christian apologetics. So you ask, how did I get here, or why am I teaching here this week? The course that I am teaching this week is one in a series of 3 modules on Christian apologetics and worldview. And since I have this degree and I have this knowledge, this is my opportunity to share the knowledge that I've gained with the students here at North Star.
Yeah. So how have you enjoyed it so far?
It's been really good. I've enjoyed this. The students here have been very engaged. It would be difficult to teach this material as a lecture. I really like the feedback and the interaction, and the students have been very good about providing that feedback and interaction. As a pastor, of course, I preach a lot of sermons, and all those typically turn out to be a lecture because it's 30 minutes of me speaking. Whereas this format is much more like a Sunday school. I'm able to say things, get feedback, kind of see where my listeners are at, what they're understanding, perhaps what they're not understanding, and make some adjustments there. So I really do value the format and find it a lot.
Yeah.
I know it's just easier to teach when you have a lot of interaction.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a bit more about the class this week? Maybe like what's your main goal for this class? What would you want the students to get out of it?
That's a good question. I suppose my goal would be twofold. Number one, maybe threefold. Maybe there are a lot of it. Number one, that they would be confident that belief in God is rational. I don't have to check my brain at the door before I walk into a church because I want to worship God.
Right.
Belief in God, that God exists, that's a rational decision. In fact, in my humble opinion, it is the only rational position. The Bible says the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. The reason why the Bible says a fool has said in his heart, there is no God, is because that there is a God is intuitively obvious if we just take inventory of that which is around us. So number one, I want the students to know that belief in God is a rational belief.
Right.
And it's reasonable. And number two, I want them to have confidence in the historicity of the resurrection and all the implications that the scriptures are authoritative and they can be, and they're trustworthy. I can rely on them. They're not going to lie to me. And so that's another thing. And then the other thing is just understand in a broader view what it means to live a Christian life. Part of the class is not just apologetics, but Christian worldview. How should I view the world? And how should I now live my life and understand that existence in light of what I understand from the scriptures?
Right. So as a pastor, I'm sure you have a very busy schedule. Why take the time to come up here to teach these 20 college students for a week?
Yes. Part of the motivation is I have this degree in Christian apologetics, and this gives me an opportunity to share those things I discovered and learned that have been a blessing to me, to share and discuss those things with others with the hope that they would be a blessing to my audience or my students. And so this is a great opportunity just to share that. It took 8 years for me to get this degree because it was an online program. I had this other career field that I was doing. So I had to take one class a semester every year for about 7 or 8 years. So it took a long time.
Yeah.
And so with that level of investment, I was eager to accept the opportunity to share this with others. And so this is a great venue, an opportunity to share what I know with students who would be blessed by that. Another thing is, like you say, it's busy as a pastor. And I have found that my week here has been somewhat like a working vacation. Mm-hmm. It has taken me out of my element, immersed me into a totally different environment when I'm doing something very different from what I normally do. And the day-to-day things that I usually do, I am an hour and a half away from, and so I can't do those things. And so, so it has been a break for me. It's been a refreshment to be here. And so I guess maybe that would be a selfish reason why I would come, for a working vacation for my own refreshment and rest.
Well, that's okay. I mean, we enjoy having you here anyway.
Okay. So. That's good. That's good.
There's benefits on both sides. You get a little vacation, we get to have you here. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Yep. Cool. What has been some highlights of your experience so far, just being up here?
I really have enjoyed teaching the class. I've really enjoyed how engaged the students have been. Mm-hmm. That has been a real positive thing. I'd say that's probably the biggest thing is really just the opportunity to teach and the receptive nature of the students here. I've appreciated it. It's been fun to talk to the students a little bit and talk to the staff here, get to know some people here. We've got a lot of neat people here on staff, and all the students have, of course, everyone has their own story. It's fun to hear what people's stories are. A lot of students here from the Lower 48. How did you hear about the school, right? Why Alaska? Why are you here? And it's fun to hear how God has worked in every individual way to bring each student here. Yeah, that's really exciting.
Yeah, there's some amazing stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. I mean, and usually our professors are one of their highlights. It's just like being in Alaska, but you already live here, so
yeah,
you get it every day.
This is pretty much my everyday. So I mean, there's a reason why I live in Alaska. I do like Alaska, and I like the snow and so forth. But there's nothing here that's like an eye-popping wow. Apart from we did get a good solid snowfall kind of in the middle of the day yesterday, and we kind of took a quick break from the class to look outside and look at the heavy snowfall. So that's always fun. You never get enough of that.
Well, there's some wows for people who don't live here though, like the Northern Lights. Those are pretty cool.
Sure.
The fact that we can just see Denali out there, the moose.
Yeah.
All sorts of things like that. Ice climbing, I just did that recently. That's pretty fun.
Yep.
We can't do that many other places.
That's right. Alaska does have some very unique opportunities.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, it certainly does. Cool. Well, another question. What's your favorite meal that you've had so far?
I think it's the pulled pork.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like the pulled pork. I can put as much barbecue sauce on that as I want. I love coleslaw, and even the buns were toasted. That was a good thing. And so, yeah, I think the pulled pork, that was yesterday, right? The pulled pork?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. That was good. I think that was my favorite one so far.
Cool.
Yeah. What's your favorite one?
Well, I don't
You've
know.
been here a while. I mean, do you have like one menu that
all of them kind of blend together in my mind. It's hard to remember which ones. From this week specifically,
yeah.
Well, the soup today was pretty good. I liked the clam chowder.
Okay.
Not everyone likes seafood, but I liked the clam chowder.
Yeah.
We've had some good ones this week, though. But we have a reoccurring one that I really love. It's they're like some kind of patty melt. It's like between sandwich bread, and it's got like onions and things. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess we haven't had that one on the menu this week, have we?
No, we haven't. But we've had some good ones this week.
Well, yeah, we have. Again, the pulled pork was top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So now I want to ask about a little bit of your personal life. So what is a pastime that you enjoy?
I like to work out. I like to stay fit.
Yeah.
So my son has me on an exercise regimen. He one time he told me, "Dad, men your age, right, need to lift weights." I'm like, okay. So he's got me on a weightlifting regimen, which again, if you're a weightlifter, it's nothing that's very impressive, but it's something I just need to, do.
Right.
And I can, it's funny, when I am lifting, I can tell that the strength training is helpful in a lot of ways. And so that's good. I swim on the Masters swim team at J-Bear. It's called the Buckner Masters swim team. And that's not to say I'm a very good swimmer or a very fast swimmer. I do okay. Yeah. But there comes a point in life where you're doing things for fitness sake, and then it really helps to have a group of people that are all getting up early in the morning, coming together, doing the same workout. We're all suffering through this together, so to speak, and there's a degree of camaraderie that you develop. So there's a community there as well with the swim team that I enjoy. I like reading. I like doing outdoor activities, of course, being an Alaskan, the hiking and the so forth. I do a little bit of hunting and fishing. I typically, my fishing is more dip netting nowadays than it is angling, because I want to run in there and grab the fish.
I've never done dip netting. How does that work?
Well, you first need to find a place where you can legally dip net, and I usually go to the Kasilof, which is on the Kenai Peninsula.
Okay.
And you just have a net. I think the limit is a 5-foot diameter net. You put it in the water, and when you feel that thump, you haul that fish in, and then you put the net in. You feel that thump, and you haul the fish in. It's. I have a friend who has a boat, which makes dip netting a lot easier.
Yeah.
You're always catching stuff on a boat, whereas if you're on the shore dipping, it's harder. You're not always catching fish out from the shore. So yeah. But it's good stuff.
So lots of typical Alaskan hobbies.
Typical Alaskan hobbies, exactly right.
Yeah, but good ones.
Good ones, yeah. Yep, they're good for the soul.
It's nearing the end of my structured questions.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to discuss or talk about?
Boy, I don't know. This has been a pleasure to be on your program. And anything you want to know about me more than what you've already asked?
Well,
you and I have had a conversation about harmonicas. I guess that's another pastime. I like to play harmonica. I'm not the best harmonica player in the world, but it's just I don't know. It's a fun interest to have.
Yeah. Well, you earlier I had my little harmonica, and you asked if I played it or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. What? But what I meant was I play with them, basically. And then you pulled out this case of harmonicas all in different keys and tunings, and I was like, wow, he actually plays harmonica. Well,
yeah. Harmonica's kind of instrument you need to be careful with, right? Because it can be obnoxious pretty quickly if it's not. Well, so you kind of need to be strategic when you play and how publicly you play, because
that's true.
But
I've annoyed a lot of people in my lifetime.
Yeah, so every once in a while they'll have me play harmonica at church, right? I'll be part of the worship crew at church. Maybe once a year, I'll get out the harmonica and play, and it's fun.
Yeah, it's nice, but not in excess. I've learned that because I play that, and then I also play the banjo. So that's two of the more annoying sounding instruments, at least to other people. They don't sound annoying to me, but I know they do for other people. Yeah. So I have to be careful about that.
Yeah. So
sometimes people don't want to hear you picking on your banjo.
I'm sure. Yeah. So
that, and probably like the accordion or something like that.
I'd say I'd prefer the banjo over the accordion perhaps any day of the week.
Yeah.
So
I'd agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I do that, and I play around too with my harmonica. I like I was sharing with you, the harmonica, it has its limitations. And so what I find interesting is trying to expand the reach or range of my harmonica as far as I can. And so part of the adventure is, how can I play this song and stretch my harmonica to give me all the notes that I need to play it.
Yeah.
And so, and
It
if you're not a
doesn't- 'cause it doesn't
harmonica
always
player,
have the right
it
notes.
doesn't always. There are some songs that a regular harmonica just doesn't give you. You know, just you can't play it because there's not enough notes there to play the whole thing. So
Yeah. Maybe you can enlighten me. I have a G harmonica
Yeah.
in the key of G
Yeah.
that I've played. I've been able to play full songs just fine.
Yeah.
And then I've just been playing the C one. It seems like in the low range there's like a note missing that I can't get
Yeah.
to play those same songs that I was playing in G.
Yeah. So on a C harmonica on the low range, so just to orient your listener to how our harmonica is set up.
Yeah. We may have lost like half our audience, but that's okay.
It's okay. I'm sure there's a harmonica enthusiast somewhere in your listenership.
We're really gonna reach that one person who loves harmonica. Okay, continue.
Okay, so if you have what everyone would consider a normal harmonica, right? A typical diatonic, what they call a diatonic harmonica, it's got 10 holes, and they're numbered 1 through 10. And so if it's keyed in the key of C, the first hole, if you blow into the first hole, it'll give you the note of C. If you draw in air in the first hole, it'll give you the note of D. So you blow C, you draw D. Now, as you go to the next hole, that will be hole number 2. You would blow E, and you would draw G. And so there's a note missing there. There's the F that is absent. So, and if you go to the next hole, the 3 hole, you would blow G and draw B. And so there's another note that's missing. That's A. And then on the 4 hole, you would blow C again. And the reason why the harmonica is structured that way is so that wherever you play it, you would get a melodious chord. Whether you're blowing in or drawing air, you'd always get a chord that sounds good together. And in order to do that, you need to sacrifice some notes. Right. So your full scale is in the middle. So again, on a C harmonica, C is blow 4, D is draw 4, then E is blow 5, F is draw 5, G is blow 6, A is draw 6, and then on the 7 hole, the draw is the B and the blow is the C. And the reason they structure it that way, again, you want your harmonica to sound melodious wherever you may be playing.
Right. So and like if a band's playing a certain key, you can play that harmonica and it'll sound fine pretty much wherever you are.
Pretty much wherever
but
you
might
are.
not be able to get all the notes if you're playing melody.
Yeah, if you're playing melody, if you're playing single notes, some notes aren't available to you. And if you need a flat or a sharp, those notes, of course, aren't available to you either unless you, what I call, bend your notes, whereas you redirect the flow of air in order to, really what you do is you're flattening a draw note. So if you're breathing in on, say, hole number 4, it's a D, and you bend that note, you're flattening the D to a C sharp is what you're trying to do. Yeah. And that expands your range when you can bend notes. And that gives you notes that otherwise are unavailable to you. And that's kind of where the fun is. How do I expand the range of my harmonica by bending notes, and I get to play this song that otherwise wouldn't be available to me?
Yeah, I got to learn how to do that.
Yeah. So there we go.
Cool.
Yeah, that's Harmonica 101. There we go.
Yeah, now our listeners have been a little more educated in how harmonicas work. A little bit of music theory, maybe.
There we go.
Yeah. You were talking during lunch today a little bit about something, a concept you were talking about in class. Do you remember what that was?
Oh, yeah, specified complexity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you want to talk about that briefly, give our listeners a little taste of what we're talking about in class?
Sure. The principle of specified complexity is this. Whenever we come across a thing that exhibits both specificity and complexity, we automatically conclude that thing is the product of an intelligent designer or an intelligent agency. And so I'd need to just take a minute to explain what I'm saying when I say specified complexity or that term. So when I say specified, what I'm saying is it exhibits some kind of function. specificity or function. When I'm saying complex, what I'm saying is just that. Whatever you're looking at is a complex array of different pieces and parts.
Right.
And the example that I gave in class is, are you familiar with the game Bananagrams?
Yes.
So you have a bag, and you have all sorts of random letters in the bag. If I were to take that bag and spill out those letters and turn them all face up, I would have a complex array of letters, correct?
Right.
The problem with that complex array of letters is that there's no specificity, meaning there are no actual words being formed unless they're formed by chance, right?
Right.
So that is a complex array of letters, but not a specified array of letters. And so our natural conclusion would be that probably came about by some kind of random action. In our case, we just poured the letters out of the Bananagrams bag. So that would be complex, but not specified. Now let's say that I randomly drew out two letters, and I happen to randomly draw a letter A and a letter T. Of course, that spells a word. That spells a word at. Now, even though this is specified, meaning it actually forms a word, it's functional, it's not complex. It's very feasible that this was the result of some kind of random action, where in my example it was. Now I understand it could be. It could be that an intelligent person purposely arranged a bunch of letters in a random format. And it could be that an intelligent agent or a person actually specifically drew out an A and a T to form a very simple word. Those things are true. But we can't be sure, 100% sure, that those are, either one of them are product of intelligence, right? But however, if you put these two concepts together, specified complexity, then you get something that people very naturally conclude is the product of intelligent design. For instance, if you were to see the Gettysburg Address, it is a complex array of different letters, and it has functional value, meaning it actually communicates to us something. So it's specified and complex. Mm-hmm. And then I brought the class to the situation where if we saw something like Stonehenge on Mars, and astronauts were to fly to Mars, and they were to discover this Stonehenge-like thing on Mars, of course, the natural conclusion of the world would be, this is absolute proof positive evidence that there's extraterrestrial life out there somewhere, right? Because Stonehenge exhibits at least a very primitive level of specified complexity.
Right.
We might not be exactly sure why Stonehenge is there, but certainly we know rocks don't self-select in such a way that they arrange themselves in the shape or the configuration of Stonehenge.
Right.
And so even though it's very simplistic, it would be evidence of specified complexity, and the natural conclusion would be, this is a product of intelligence, right? Extraterrestrial life. And then I drew the students' attention to the astronaut himself.
Right.
The astronaut and his body exhibits a greater degree of specified complexity than Stonehenge. However, our secular society tends to see that Stonehenge demands a designer, but not the astronaut. And to me, that's a case of what we call special pleading. I have a special case, or I'm using a inconsistent measure by which to determine what is designed and what is not.
Right.
And I just am making the case that's not a fair application. That's not rational. If the Stonehenge demands a designer, then how much more does the astronaut demand a designer?
Right.
If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, of course, and who is this designer? Well, surprise, surprise. This designer, this almighty intelligent designer we call God.
Of course.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. And so now I want to ask for some recommended resources. So the first thing I'm going to ask for is thinking back to, I guess it could be seminary or it could be early years pastoring. What is a book that was helpful for you?
I think I'll go back to a book that I read when I was a young officer in the Army. And this was when I had gotten into the Army, I didn't see the real need to be part of a church community. That was something that's like, well, who needs this thing? Until life started going badly. And it's like, oh boy, how do I fix these problems in my life? And I didn't know what else to do, where else to go. So I might as well try the church, right? And sure enough, I was like, boy, I really need this in my life. And there was a group of young officers who pulled together a Bible study and brought me into this Bible study. And we studied a book titled Know Why You Believe by Paul Little. And it asks a lot of these same apologetic type questions that we're kind of tackling here in the module this week, in our class this week. And so that kind of sparked my journey to have an interest in Christian apologetics. Mm-hmm. So I would say that was an important first book. That was well before I became a pastor or entered into seminary. But it really helped me kind of solidify the idea that belief in God is rational, belief in the resurrection is rational and reasonable, and I don't need to check my brain at the door, that this is sound. And that was helpful for me. I don't know if it's helpful for everyone. I don't know if everyone needs that in their lives, but I needed that in my life. So, yeah.
Cool. And so, second book.
Like a more recent book?
Yeah, just within the last year.
Okay, well, this might sound a little strange. I read a book, or actually I didn't read it. I got an audiobook.
Okay, that counts.
Okay, that counts. And it was titled, let's see. It was titled An Empire of Wealth. Huh. And I know this sounds strange. I'm kind of like I like to dabble in philosophy, and for some reason I like to dabble in economic theory and things about the economy. I don't know why that interests me. Huh. But this book was a good read, An Empire of Wealth by John Gordon is his name, John Steele Gordon. And why I found it really intriguing was it helped fill in, how do I say it? The profit motive in our country has been a significant driver in the history of our country. You don't realize how strong of a driver the profit motive is until you look at the results of history, or how. And so, when I went and studied U.S. history in high school, there seemed to be like this huge gap between the Revolutionary War and the Civil War, and then there's another huge gap from the Civil War to the Depression. And then once you got to the Depression, then you got to the World War II, and then you got more modern history, and that seemed more coordinated. But there seemed to be these huge gaps.
Right.
And so what was happening during those gaps? In realizing that this profit motive and how that drove the course of human history, the development of the corporation, and the development of the central bank or lack thereof, and how that precipitated not just the Great Depression, but other economic collapses in the country, which of course ultimately would bring about the emergence of the central bank, which we have now. It was all interesting to me to see how these things now kind of connected with each other and filled in a bunch of gaps in American history that really just kind of confounded me. And so I found it a good read. It's probably not for everybody, but it's called An Empire of Wealth. The Empire of Wealth, the epic history of American economic power. Yeah. So if that interests you, I'd recommend it.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Sounds insightful.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess that's about all we have.
Well, very good. Well, it has been a blessing for me to sit in on this. I pray that this podcast is a blessing to your listeners.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. It's been great to have you up this week, and good to get you on the podcast.
All right. Thank you for the time.
Cool. Well, for all you out there, you'll want to stay tuned as we have more podcast episodes coming. And if you or anyone you know is interested in Bible education and discipleship in the beautiful mountains of Alaska, you can find more info at nsbs.life. That's nsbs.life.